All right, we have a special day today, hon. What's so special about today?
Well, we are here at Living Traditions Homestead. Many of you may watch their channel on YouTube. Kip has been here a couple times and got to see their homestead, but it's my first time. Unfortunately, it's raining, so I don't know how much of the homestead I'm going to see, but I'm really excited to spend time with Sarah and of course Kevin, and we have some fun questions for them today. So hopefully we'll get to do a little interview, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
So come along with us on the journey of spending some time with Living Traditions.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Okay.
You survived,
You
Caleb?
all survived?
You survived, Caleb?
Yeah.
I know.
We just had one that threw up, a little bit threw up early on.
She's sleeping now.
But now she's asleep, perfectly happy. Here we go.
All right, so here's one of the first things we see when we pull up there, and there is Kevin and Sarah's house, Living Traditions. And here's a quick scan. The homestead here. Look at all that wood that's cut over there. Kevin's a busy beaver, and whoever else helped him with all that. Oh, and here's the greeting party. Mr. Living Traditions himself.
So you know how to tell the boys from the girls? See the girls? See how they're all spotted? Their breast feathers are spotted? That's a girl.
Okay.
Now I can see this water supply line here coming down this PVC pipe that's got a cap on it and a cap on it. So Kevin, what are these little things that they actually, where the water comes
Well,
in?
they're just little drinking cups, and all they do is there's a little yellow thing inside of here that they hit with their beak, and then it puts a tiny bit of water into the little cup, and then they drink out of it.
And is this specialized for?
They sell them for poultry in general, but they work really well for the quail.
Okay.
And they stay clean. You know, they always have a clean supply of water. For this amount of quail, that 5-gallon bucket lasts like a month.
Yeah, and you saw this right here coming up to the 5-gallon bucket. So Kevin put the bucket up high, so it has gravity feed down here, so that they have water whenever they want it.
Yeah.
Kevin, is that like a mini Sterilite toad in there? What in the world is that?
It's just a homemade feeder that we made for them. Both cages have one, but we just drilled holes in it. And that way they can put their heads in to eat. But quail are very messy when they eat, so they'll kind of shake their head around in their feed. And this way it all stays in there instead of ending up on the floor.
So a lot less waste.
A lot less waste.
Right on. That's smart.
You know what? I've never enjoyed gardening so much as this year. Let me tell you. This is the most enjoyable garden.
So you guys are doing a new garden plot over here. And how are you preparing it? What's your goals? What are you up to over here?
Well, we're tilling it this fall. This was just complete hard pasture 2 weeks ago. So I'm tilling it, getting all the rocks out, and starting a very good rock collection. And then we're going to till in rabbit manure and manure from all of our animals this fall, and let it rest all winter, so that in spring we'll be able to plant it.
Okay.
And we will be using the same garden fabric in this new garden as we did in our big garden this year. It really made gardening so enjoyable that the weeds were really suppressed, like 95%. It was really ended up being a good system for us, and we'll continue doing that.
Yeah. And what's the garden fabric that you use?
It's a breathable fabric. It's a I think it's a polyethylene fabric.
It's not solid black plastic.
No.
It's
like
actually
woven.
a woven.
It's a woven fabric that allows water to go through.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So our goal with that garden is to be able to rotate spring, summer, fall, and then the following year swap them, so that we're not growing the same plants in the same place every year. And so that, like, our problem currently with just one garden was that, it was time to plant fall things, but summer things weren't done yet.
They were still going.
So there was always that overlap where either we had to end summer too early or fall off too late.
Right.
So now we can hopefully not
Right
have
on.
that problem.
Right on.
So-
You can roll right into the next season.
Right.
Boom.
Right.
Sweet.
So you just keep the work going and going and going.
Never stop working.
Because that's what you really want.
Right. Yeah.
Just go and go and go
Right.
and never rest.
And then we have stuff growing in the greenhouse, so that'll grow all winter.
And that, yeah.
Yeah.
But at least wintertime, your workload will shrink down because you'll have butchered a bunch of your animals.
Yes.
Right.
Your big gardens have been shut down.
Yes.
And you're just doing the greenhouse and maybe a couple few animals that you're keeping over to the next year.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, so I have a list here that me and Carrie put together of questions we want to ask Kevin and Sarah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I believe that the answers to these questions is going to really inspire you.
Is this
and
like
encourage
gonna be
you.
like the dating game? Or the
No.
newlywed show?
No, this is way worse.
Now I'm really nervous.
All right.
Okay, question number 1. At the start of your homesteading journey, what motivated you guys?
I would say we were so sick of having a big mortgage, of just living in the rat race of working 8 to 12 hours a day, you know, just being caught up in the same environment that so many people are caught up. We barely saw each other. We barely got to spend time with our kids. Our kids were being raised by a daycare instead of by us. And we just got to the point where we said, there's got to be a better way to live life. And so that's what started us slowly learning skills to be more self-sufficient, and then eventually selling what we call our fancy house in the nice neighborhood, buying an urban farm. We kept that for 5 years where we really honed our homesteading skills, and then moved to the Missouri Ozarks where we are now, where we do it full time.
Right on.
I was also motivated to be able to leave the corporate world and spend more time with my family, my husband and my kids, because I've worked full time the entire time when my kids were babies and growing up. And even though initially I thought that's what I wanted, it ended up not being what I wanted. And so to move toward an opportunity for me to be home with my family and to do things that I love, it was really worth it, and I would never trade it for the world.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've never felt like we've given up anything.
Absolutely not. We've
No.
only gained. We've only gained.
There you go. Okay, so there's probably quite a few people who have some of those same motivations, right? How many times do you hear that on your channel, right?
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. So for people who have very little time or money but want to start producing their own food, what could be a good place to start to get the most out of a small investment?
I would say to start gardening in your backyard or on your porch or wherever it is, even if you only have a balcony of an apartment, to just start and do whatever you can where you're at with whatever you have. And as you get better and better, you can do more and more.
Expand.
Right, and you know, as you have more and more opportunity to go to a place or find a place with more room,
Right.
give you more opportunity.
If you start growing enough that you're starting to save money on your grocery bill, then use that money to pay down debts. And you know, the main thing is that you have to be able to live a debt-free life. This life doesn't provide a big income. So what we always say, it's not about how much you make, it's about how little you spend. And if you're just, you know, in debt, that's a hard thing to get under control. So
That's if you're, and that's if you want the end result to be full-time
Right,
homesteaders.
right.
And that is a huge process to go from not being able to do that. You know, that was a 7-year plus endeavor for us to become completely 100% debt-free, including a mortgage, and to be able to live and work on the homestead full-time with no other outside jobs. It didn't come to us easily, and it didn't come to us quickly.
Right.
And even though we've had to make a lot of sacrifices in many areas of our lives in order to do that, we don't feel like we've lost anything because of it.
No.
Yeah.
And one way that we always approach things too is when we look at things we want to raise, or should we raise this or should we not raise this, we look at kind of what the cost of that is to buy. So for us, the very first thing we wanted to be self-sufficient on was meat, because meat is the most expensive thing we would spend money on in a grocery store. So we're on year 7 now of not buying any meat in a grocery store. And that was, that to us was a big deal to get to the point where, we're not having to spend that money every month. Now we're about 75% there on everything else as well. But again, we look at it as, what are the most expensive things that you're spending money on, and start raising those first.
Yeah.
Eliminating that cost.
Now hold on. You're what for not buying any meat? How many years?
I believe it's 7 years.
7 years of not buying any meat, and you eat meat regularly. You're not like huge meat, hoarders or anything,
No.
or gorgers.
No.
But
We have meat
it's a
at
regular
least
part of your
every
diet.
day.
Yeah.
Meat at least every day.
Generally every day.
Yeah.
Something to learn here, folks.
But we do that through a number of ways. We raise a lot of it ourselves, but we also hunt. We hunt and fish, which,
There you go.
that adds up as well. So
Yeah.
pretty much
Rabbits.
everything we raise as far as meat goes, we try to raise for us and to sell.
Right.
And then, basically we eat for free.
Right. And even in the garden, we sell
Free minus all the hours of work
Right.
that you're not getting paid for. But
in the garden, we've also sold some of the produce, which has turned around to pay for all of the seeds for that year and maybe
Right.
even for the next year.
right, and we sell a lot of plant starts in the spring, which basically pays for our entire garden.
Right.
What are some key things you do to stay healthy and fit for all the work you do on the homestead? Any encouragement for those struggling with health and limitations?
Well, the biggest thing for us is we just get up and move. Every single day
I'm moving.
Yeah, every day we're up and we're moving, we're outside, we're doing the work, we're doing the hard work, we're lifting 50-pound bags of feed and hay bales and moving animals from here and there, here to there, and we're just active. And both of us, since we have left corporate America, sitting behind a desk for 9 or 10 hours every single day,
Ouch.
to out here just moving, we're not super young, but we're 42. That's not really old, but we feel so much younger now
Right.
that we're out moving every
We
single
both
day.
lost 20 pounds in the first year we were here, just from being
because.
more active.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah,
I
just
think
do it.
another way to kind of get control of your health and your life and those kinds of things is to eat at home and make everything homemade.
Right.
Stop going out, stop buying junk food.
Right.
Don't buy from the freezer section.
Eat Whole
Right.
Foods.
Eat
Here's
whole
a funny
foods.
story. So we always allow our family, we allow ourselves one meal a month, not at home. So once a month we'll go out to dinner.
To a restaurant.
We just did that 3 nights ago. We all came home and felt so terrible that even the kids said we shouldn't do this anymore. So what we've decided is that now, instead of going out to eat once a month, we're going to actually go to the grocery store once a month and buy something that
For
we
a
don't
special meal.
raise.
Yeah.
That like come home and make some nachos or something like that. Something that would make us happy. But
We can still control the
but-
ingredients, knowing that
There you
we're
go.
not going to feel
Yeah.
terrible.
right,
go.
right.
and
We can
still
put our
make
homegrown
something
meat on it
so
and
special that it still feels awesome. Even if we spend $20 on one meal, which sounds ridiculous, especially to me at the grocery store. You know how much cheese I can buy for $20? But,
I'm just gonna come home with just a big bag of cheese.
I'm just gonna
That's
come
gonna be
home
my
with
special
cheese.
meal. Just 10 pounds of
Just
cheddar.
cheese. Can you tell that cheese is special for us? $20 on a special meal in a month would be amazing. That's just what we're gonna do. So those two things are probably the easiest to start and have made the most impact on our health and our
Right.
lives.
Yeah, being active and controlling your diet.
Yep.
So here's one. How does your faith play a role on your homestead and in your parenting?
Well, we do feel like God called us to live this life. Part of what we really struggled with when we still had corporate jobs was just trying to be caught up in that worldly rat race, the keeping up with the Joneses. So we really felt like God called us. We have no idea how we ended up in Missouri. We have no family here. We have no anything. We prayed for about a year about where we should go. God kept bringing Missouri up, and so we came out here. We came out here on a family vacation. Then Sarah and I came back by ourselves without the kids, and actually when we found this property that we ended up buying, it was like from the second we walked on this property, we knew that this was our new home, and by the end of that day we were ready to move. So it was really just being obedient and knowing that His plan is so much better than any plan we could come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing for me that I've noticed since we've been here is really for me the separation away from a lot of that worldly goings on has really allowed me to focus my attention on my relationship with Christ, and really I'm able to feel things and hear things and now more than I could before, and I'm not sure if that's because I'm not so bombarded.
Slow down.
Yes. And so it's really allowed me to strengthen my relationship. It's also given me an opportunity being here and not working all the time, to talk with the kids about situations and to talk about our faith and to question them and challenge them. And it's been really great. And you know, we've had to rely on our call out here. We've had to trust like we've never trusted before. We've had to believe like we've never done before that, you know, this is our calling and that we're going to be taken care of.
Right.
And that by being obedient that we will be rewarded, and we have. We've really, together as a family and individually, we have had some really amazing personal experiences with God through this process.
Okay, here's the last one. If your wildest dreams come true for your children, for your homestead, for your life, what would that look like?
Honestly, we just had this conversation recently with that big $1.6 billion lottery. And we were like, what would you do with $1.6 billion? First of all, our youngest daughter, you know what she said we should do? We should buy some chips. Because we never buy chips. You can get pretty good chips for that kind of money.
And a few.
Right. But we actually kind of talked about this, like what would we do and we wouldn't change much. You know?
This is our dream come true right
this
here.
This really is.
You know? This is our dream come true.
I would replace my 1994 ATV with a nice new shiny ATV.
Sure.
But I'd still be riding around on my ATV, you know? I would, maybe, buy a couple new implements for the tractor.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change my life as far as I still want to
live the way you're living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our dream.
This is our dream. This is our dream come true. And as far as our children, this is what we want for our children. We want our children to be godly, to have godly husbands, and to be happy.
And hopefully stay close by.
And hopefully stay close by.
All right, you guys. It was such a pleasure and privilege hanging out here with Kevin and Sarah, Living Traditions Homestead. This is an awesome place, awesome people. I really want to encourage you that if you've not checked out their channel, check it out. We will have a link below in the show notes. And if you go there and you watch their videos, you're going to learn some stuff. You're going to learn about animal husbandry. You're going to learn about gardening. You're going to learn about cooking stuff. You're going to learn about preserving stuff.
We feel like our calling is to be teachers,
right,
and to spread, share what God has taught us.
Right.
So that's kind of how we approach our channel.
Right. We do some vlogging and things, but we do have the hearts of teachers.
Thanks for joining us. We pray blessing over you and yours. And whatever you do with your whole heart.
Hey, Biddle Boo. What you doing there?
Probably nice and warm under there. Can I get under there?
Cozy, huh?